Today is our IT session that we're going to be running for Career Connections for spring of 2025. So my name is Russell Calvin. I'm a recruitment analyst and the virtual engagement and platform coordinator over here with California Department of Transportation. Been with the state for about 3 years now, a little over three. I graduated with my bachelor's degree from CSU Stanislaus. And I am joined today also by my partner, Megan Aziz. So Megan, go ahead, introduce yourself, let everybody know. Major, where'd you graduate? How long have you been with us?
Got it. Hi, everyone. My name is Megan Aziz. I have been with Caltrans just a little over 2 years. March was actually my 2-year anniversary. Um, I graduated from California State University, Sacramento, a few years ago, just in 2020, and with a degree in anthropology.
Cool.
Mhm.
Just so everybody knows, a little housekeeping rule real quick before I introduce you guys to our subject matter expert. Today's meeting is being recorded for YouTube. So if you guys would like a copy of the recording, I'll have you guys send us out an email later on and a point of contact. And please also hold all questions until the Q&A session that we'll be having down at the end. Megan will be dropping in some helpful links for you guys as we are going about through the presentation today. So that way you guys can fully utilize those links to help you guys out throughout the presentation. So today we are joined by our subject matter expert, Munther. Munther also goes by Mike. Mike was born in Jordan, but moved to the States when he was 17 years old, where he struggled to complete his education due to high costs. In 1987, Mike finished his AS degree at San Bernardino Valley College and then moved to Cal State Long Beach, where he completed his BSEE in 1992. Mike also worked in various jobs, but mainly in computer industry, repairing computers and computer monitors, and at the same time worked in their IT department, supporting network services. He moved up to a supervisor level in 1998 with a company called CTX and worked there for about 5 years. And Mike then decided to work for the government due to a more stable environment, started his career with the County of San Bernardino in about 2002 as an IT tech. And then around 2003, Mike then moved to the state of California, School for Deaf in Riverside as an IT associate, where he gained about 3 years of experience supporting customers. He then promoted to an IT specialist in 2006 with Caltrans, District 8, working his way up through the ranks, and eventually in 2009 promoted to an IT supervisor. Finally, he took on the IT chief position in 2021, which is his current position. So during Mike's spare time also, uh, at spare time, he vacations and likes to spend time with his kids as much as possible. Mike also likes to play basketball when time permits. So Mike, did I leave anything out in that intro?
No, I think you pretty much hit it on right on the spot.
Uh, Basketball team. What are we looking at? You have a favorite basketball team?
Really, it used to be the Lakers. I'm
Okay.
not sure if it's I haven't been watching basketball lately, but it used to be the Lakers in the past, back in the 80s
Gotcha.
and 90s.
Hey, the Lakers' new saying nowadays for everything is Lakers in five. Like
Right.
everybody says Lakers in five.
We
I'm
have
a Warriors
somebody,
fan.
we have somebody in the
Being
chat saying Warriors winning.
Hey, I'm a Warriors fan through and through. But we're in Sacramento. I work out of the Kings District 8. You guys are in San Bernardino? Is that
Right,
correct?
right.
Riverside, yeah. So I'm out of headquarters. Megan, we're both out of headquarters up in Sacramento, which is King's territory. But yes, I am a Warriors fan as well. All right. So on today's agenda, we'll talk a little bit about our department, who we are, what we do, kind of like the opportunities that we offer in transportation for IT. Munther's going to give us some insight on his position, how we got started with Caltrans, and some of the cool projects that he's worked on. And then we'll get into some detail about our benefits and positions that we have, how to apply for the state. And then we'll finish up with the round of Q&A as well at the end, as I was saying earlier. And that's where Megan will be compiling you guys' list of questions that you guys will ask at that time, and she'll be feeding them back to us. Just to go over those housekeeping rules one more time. Uh, utilize those chat for those questions towards the end when we open up that Q&A session. So that way Megan can read them back out to us, and she will be dropping some links inside the chat box for you guys to kind of take a look at and utilize. It'll be some emails as well, points of contact for you guys, so that way everybody can get that valuable information. But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and play a video for us, talking about who we are, what we do, and everything like that.
Ready to embark on a career that combines technology, innovation, and a positive impact on the environment and community? Look no further than Caltrans, the California Department of Transportation. Join us as we explore some of the state-of-the-art technologies that we are incorporating into our projects to engineer the future of transportation. Safety is our top priority. We believe that using drones is a game changer in ensuring safer roads for everyone. Surveying hazardous areas, inspecting bridges and tunnels, and assessing road conditions without putting workers at unnecessary risk is a great advantage. Our acquisition of state-of-the-art UAS unmanned aircraft system technology allows us to be in multiple places at once, access high-risk areas safely, and fly instantly from anywhere. We are one of the first departments of transportation in the nation to utilize this equipment. With over 100 trained drone pilots statewide, we are revolutionizing the way we utilize technology, allowing us to make informed decisions that lead to improved safety measures and faster response times. Piloting the use of augmented reality helps us to visualize a new roadway, structure, utility, or feature in the actual dimensional space upon which it will be built. We're work zone ready with well-equipped lighting on hard hats, ensuring the visibility of our field workers is not compromised and giving us the ability to assess work sites at all hours of the day. We aim to provide a safe and reliable transportation network that serves all people and respects the environment while honoring our values of engagement, equity, innovation, integrity, and pride. At Caltrans, your career options are limitless. We provide comprehensive job rotation programs, mentorship opportunities, and a supportive work environment that encourages personal and professional growth. Whether you're an aspiring engineer, a tech enthusiast, or a community-driven individual, Caltrans has the perfect path to start your career. Do yourself a favor. Come and join us. You would make us better.
All right. So as you guys can tell in that video, not only do we cover like a wide range, but we also are open to opportunities statewide. So working in Caltrans allows for diverse opportunities up and down the state, whether you prefer the mountains of Lake Tahoe or Yosemite, Redwood Rainforest, coastlines like Big Sur, or in some cases, as of right now, we're still working from, a lot of us are working partially from home. Um, we've got a wide range of opportunities and areas where you can work from. Mike, how often are you in office right now?
So in the last couple of years, it's 2 days a week. I personally come into the office Tuesdays and Wednesdays. My staff come in different days just to ensure coverage. But I believe things are changing soon.
Yeah, I'm the same way right now. I know Megan and I are the same way. We're on the same exact team, so both of us come in typically on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. We see each other um, in the office, but as of right now, we're at 2 days a week, and then, things are potentially, or no, things are going to be changing as we're transitioning back into um, in office days. We just don't exactly know what that looks like, right? We don't know exactly where it's going to be, but as of right now, we are still at that 2 days a week with the hybrid work schedule that we're offering right now. So just so everybody knows, because like I said, we're a big company, right? Caltrans is split up into 12 different districts. So our department starts at the Oregon border, right over here with districts 1 and 2, right at the top, and it comes all the way down to District 11 at that Mexico border. Quick thing in the chat, let's see exactly if everybody can just kind of put in there what district you're interested in working in. Mike, you're right here in San Bernardino. You guys cover quite a bit of ground down in District 8.
Yes, we are one of the largest coverage here in San Bernardino County alone is one of the largest counties, but we
Yeah,
also cover Riverside.
you guys cover a lot of ground, right? Like
Right.
it's a lot, it's a wide ground. Megan, what
Geographically,
are
we
we?
are the largest.
Yeah, Megan,
Okay.
what are we looking at?
So
What
from
are we seeing?
what I'm seeing, we got a lot of fours, lots of sevens. Yep, lots of fours and sevens. A few tens.
Few tens,
Mm-hmm.
so in that
So
San
we're in your
Joaquin cycle.
territory.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So fun fact for everybody: Caltrans headquarters in Sacramento has the most employees with over 5,000. It is then followed by District 4, which is the Bay Area, and District 7, which is LA, with a bit over 2,500 workers. So these are kind of like the main ones. You can see that headquarters location right on over here where Megan and I are working out of, and then Mike is working out of District 8 right there. But that District 4, Bay Area, and District 7, with the two main cities being like the Oakland, San Francisco, and Los Angeles County, those are really big areas for us as well. But everybody else has quite a large support group in each district. So our department's mission is to provide a safe and reliable transportation network that serves all people and respects the environment. Our vision is a brighter future for all through a world-class transportation network. Some of our goals that we work on include leading climate action, which have been addressed by advancing complete streets and zero-emission vehicles, piloting new materials and renewable fuels, and investigating nature-based solutions along with a multitude of other strategies. Throughout all this process, we can't really get a lot of things done if we don't have the support of our IT team, which, as Mike will explain later on, as we go into things, how important it is for us to get our jobs done because of the work that him and his team and all of his colleagues do in order to set us all up for success. We aim to advance equity and livability in all communities by adopting new approaches, focuses on collaborative community and partner engagement, measuring impacts on public health and community vibrancy, and prioritizing and investing in historically harmed and segmented communities. All right, Mike, I'm going to start us off with one quick question. That way everybody kind of can just keep this in their mind that it's going to be that running theme, which is what makes Caltrans IT unique. That's kind of going to be a question that we're going to touch base on as I'm asking you those other questions. But I know that's going to be something that's on everybody's mind, especially separating between private sector and state sector. But you ready for those questions, Mike?
Absolutely.
All right. So, what led to your career in IT?
Okay, so really, to summarize things, I started young at a young age, about, I would say, around 19, 20 years. I took a class at San Bernardino Valley College here locally in San Bernardino, and there was a physics class, and it was a project, dropping an object, and we were supposedly we needed to calculate the speed of that object and some other calculations. And we were given two options to do it manually, which is no computer,
Okay.
which I did, and I started doing the calculations, and at some point it started to become really tedious, like a lot of work. And then we tried the other option, which is a computer option. Back then it was I forgot. I'm not sure exactly what model of a computer was, but I believe it was an Apple computer that only runs DOS commands at the time. And we were able to program it, given some advice from the professor at the time. I programmed the formula in there, and wow, it made life simpler. I was able to come up with a graph of the calculations very quickly, and a solution came up in minutes instead of hours. And so that just motivated me to, oh, okay, well, I like computers. So I started, that started my interest in the computer and IT industry. So I started working after graduating from Cal State Long Beach. I immediately started working in the computer industry. I along with that, not only fix computers, everything you can think of related to actually computers, from replacing main boards, hard drives, troubleshooting, and supporting customers, but also repairing computer monitors that went with it. So I moved into a few companies that I worked at the time. You mentioned CTX. I stayed there for about 5 years. I worked for ViewSonic maybe a year or so, and then another company called Sample that did computers and laptops and also LCD TVs.
Okay.
They actually sent me to Taiwan to try to learn the production and how things are done in Taiwan there, and came back here and utilized my experience in Taiwan, what I learned over there, and I worked in here with them for another maybe 3, 4 years. In any case, I spent about, I would say, 12 years in the private industry. But during
Hmm.
that time, I would have to move, and things don't work out with the company. They do layoffs, and I would just move around, jump around from one place to another. And finally, I decided to jump into an opportunity with the San Bernardino County, where I took on a technician job, an assistant IT technician.
Hmm.
And that's when I learned, okay, it's a different environment. I felt
Working
it's more,
public sector.
yes, now I'm in a government job, and it's a
Hmm.
public sector versus private, and I felt more stability there.
Okay.
Uh, and I
And
worked
that's
my way up in there.
so that leads me kind of to like my next question, right? So you said you kind of you started off and you went to physics and then you started going into IT from there. Um, in your bio, 2002 was when you made the switch over into public sector, right? Right around that time. So you
Right.
went through that Y2K
True.
fiasco.
Yes.
That was, where everybody thought the computers were going to just, it was going to be all over. And um, what made you choose Caltrans then? So you had left and you went to public sector and you were at the county. And you could have stayed at the county. You didn't have to leave to go to a state agency. What made you think about going to state agency instead?
Yeah, so and that's something that I'll probably be touching on in the next a few minutes. But when I stayed with the county, the department was has nothing to do with IT. They needed IT to support their main function with that they do, which is solid waste and
Hmm.
and whatever they do at that branch. And the IT department was very small. It was only like maybe 3 people. So the opportunities and that's something that I want to also mention in the next few minutes, is that I thought about it. The future for me in that organization is limited because
Hmm.
there's no the IT section is very small. So I looked outside. I still wanted to stay with the government, and the state government looked nice to me and opportunities. And so I felt that it's time for me to move, and that's when I moved to the state. Not Caltrans at the time. I moved to School for the Deaf, which is state special schools.
Hmm.
It's another agency with the state. And that's when I moved to like one step up over a technician, an associate position. And I stayed there about 4 years. And it is a school also, so they're not a lot into IT stuff.
Hmm.
And there's also limitations to the ladder of IT in there is limited. And that's when I started looking. After 3 or 4 years, I kept looking, but I still wanted to stay with the state agency.
Hmm.
And that's when I was able to move to Caltrans District 8 back in, I believe, 2005 or so.
Which so that like that's kind of it. It helps lead me to my next question, or the third question that I would typically ask you on it, which is kind of like a one of the benefits of working with us at Caltrans, and it's like, what do you think sets Caltrans apart from the private sector? So to me, based off of gathering kind of what you're saying, which is one of the things that kind of sets us up, is that you were already a state employee before this, right? Because you were with a different agency, and you were still able to come and join us without really losing your tenure, right? Your state years that you put in still count towards your retirement down the long road. Um, and that's based off of what I'm hearing from you. What do you think sets Caltrans apart from the private sector besides that?
Yeah, you hit it right on the spot. When I was thinking about moving at that point, it wasn't an easy decision because I felt that I'm comfortable with the state, with the school in Riverside, and I'm happy, everything is good. But I felt, like I mentioned, I felt that there is a limit to how far I can go up the ladder. That's when I started looking into other options. And When I moved to Caltrans, and even before, when I moved to state special schools, I can tell the difference between working for a private company or organization
Mhm.
versus one of the state agencies. Um, uh, it's obvious. Number one is it's more stable, more secure job that you don't worry too much about being laid off easily. That's
Yes.
one thing. Another thing is basically it's more of a you can feel that they value Caltrans specifically values people and employees more than anything monetary, more than making profits, and more than anything else. And it's actually part of the values
Mhm.
in their mission and vision is people. People, they put people first, and that's really very important. It was important for me when I moved to Caltrans, and it makes a big difference. It's more of a um, friendly environment.
Mhm.
You come to work, you're happy. You're not. It's not very stressful,
Mhm.
so it makes a big difference.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it, you wouldn't expect that, right? Like state of California is the fifth largest economy in the world. We are the second largest state agency within the fifth largest economy in the world with all the infrastructure we run. And like to be able to value their people with as big of a company as we are and still have everybody, for the most part, really happy and looking forward to coming into work and not overly stressed out and stuff like it's a big accomplishment in itself to be able to do that when you're handling this many employees and then still give everybody the stability like you were saying, right? Like to not worry about the layoffs as often or anything like that, to not worry about certain things that are going on by joining the state, then that is a big difference between us in the public sector versus the private sector.
Absolutely, and I think of other things also that sets Caltrans apart from the private industry is the benefits that it offers to the
Mhm.
employees. It's not only the monetary values, but the all of the available benefits that adds up. For example, you have retirement, you have a pension plan that you can rely on in the future. So
Mhm.
they're not only thinking of you now, but they're thinking of you in the future.
In the future.
You're able to solidify your future with a retirement plan so that you can depend on it, and you have health insurance in the future and so on. So
Mhm.
it's really an what do you call it, no thought process to choose
Yeah,
between private
it's a big
and
weight lifted off of your shoulders when you look at the whole entire package that is being offered to you versus just, let's just say, just the money up front. But when you look at the entire package of everything, it's a pretty big weight lifted off of your shoulders, and kind of opened your eyes up.
True.
So what projects have you worked on or are you currently working on that you're pretty proud of? We had a couple of other IT people on here, and they've shared some pretty different stories about projects. What are you working on, or what are you most proud of?
So I do want to mention a couple projects. One that I worked on in the past that made a big difference in our IT department here, supporting our users, our engineers here in the district. And by the way, my background education-wise was in engineering. I
Okay.
graduated with electrical engineering, so I understand what they need, their needs whenever
Hmm.
they're working on projects. So one of the projects that I worked on in the past that actually made a big difference was virtualization of servers. You come to our server room initially, like in the past, before this project. You go, you open the door, and you will see hundreds of servers in that room. A lot of racks, a lot of space being utilized by the equipment. And so when I was in charge of that area, we decided to virtualize the servers. So you take, let's say, 10 servers, you take them out completely, and you put, instead of that 10 servers, you put one large physical box that can run and all of the functionalities of those 10 servers into one large box, powerful box. And so we ended up reducing the footprint of the servers. And you go today, you compare the before and after pictures, there's only maybe 2 racks right now with maybe we saved about 75% or 80% of the spacing in the server room.
That's big.
Saved a lot of power, saved a lot of energy in their consumption. We're able to efficiently provide services to the engineers right now, easily manage their requirements and their requests for services and so on. So that's one of the projects
Hmm.
that I worked in the past. Currently, we're actually doing an upgrade on the storage arrays that we have that utilizes SSD drives, which is there's no mechanical spinning disks in the drives versus what we have. And so it will make a big difference also in speed, access speed to files, and different efficiencies in there.
Okay. So you guys, it's kind of crazy. Like you're talking about how like the footprint that you guys are like that previous project that you work on to save that amount of space, basically, because like our IT rooms, when you really think about it, right? If you guys don't save that amount of space, like we've got to house all of this IT technology somewhere. So the IT rooms just get bigger and bigger. So for you guys to be able to condense it down, that frees up the space for us on our end to be able to have the cubicles to be able to do certain things. So I mean, it's like we were saying, it's a big part of the things that you guys do on the back end. Um, Not necessarily reflect right off the back up front, but then it helps us in the long run, and it helps like our METS team or our material engineers testing labs with those electrical engineers that are working on things. Like your guys' work is a big part in what they do for their success on their jobs.
Absolutely,
So
yes. Yeah.
last question I have for you is what advice would you give to recent or upcoming graduates who are interested in joining our department? In other words, the people that we have in this webinar right now, what advice would you give them?
Okay, so I want to start off by saying, yeah, if you want to really be successful in whatever you want to do, you need to like or love what you do. So find something that you really like doing, and try to see if Caltrans or any state agency, by going onto that specific website, and I'm sure Russ will mention that in the future, see what area and of services that are available by the department that you're interested into getting into. And if it fits your skills, if it fits what you want to do in the future, then apply and try to get into one of the state agencies. Especially specifically, I would recommend Caltrans, of course.
Hmm.
But it's something that you need. You have to make sure that you like what you're doing, so that when you come to work, it's something that you like to do, and you will be happy coming in. And never give up whenever you apply for a position with a state agency. It is a competitive process, so it takes a while sometimes to get in, but never give up and always try to complete applications, be persistent, and I'm sure eventually you'll get in. And once you get in, um, try to learn as much as you can about the functions that or the services that are provided by the department or that agency. There's also something that I highly recommend at that point when you're inside the department. There is a mentorship a program that's available, specifically at least with Caltrans here with us. And I'm part of that. I have been a mentor for the last few years. But you can be a mentee where you can shadow or maybe learn from somebody who's been there for a while, and it will accelerate the process of you promoting or moving up the steps of the ladder that you're interested in to pursuing with the department.
Cool.
And so that's basically overall just a quick summary of what I would recommend.
Perfect. So I just want to go ahead and thank you one more time, Mike, for joining us. So I will go ahead and reach back out to you in a little bit about a couple things though once we get a little bit further into the presentation. But so as we mentioned earlier, kind of like the benefits, like what do we offer? I know Mike touched back on that. Um, but there's a lot in terms of the package that we do offer. So the state of California in itself, since we're as Caltrans, we are a California Department of Transportation, but we are a state agency. We do offer great medical, dental, vision, and the retirement benefits that Mike was talking about as well. We have an amazing work-life balance. I love it. I finally understood what work-life balance meant by coming to the state, along with a multitude of career development opportunities, such as the mentorship that Mike had mentioned, and some leadership training as well. We aim to create leaders and provide employees with the necessary knowledge to carry their work out confidently. I know Megan, did you already drop that link in the description in the chat box for CalHR?
I did.
Perfect. And also one thing that does get offered, there is also the potential for student loan forgiveness. So Megan, do you have that link for
Yep,
the
dropping it
perfect?
now.
All right. So the introductory role for information technology series is an information technology associate. As you guys can see right on over here, range A is considered an entry level with the minimum qualifications of being 2 years of experience or 60 units at an accredited college with 15 units of IT courses or any equivalent combination of both. So as you can see in this chart, we range from range A all the way up to a range D. This kind of showcases that at the range D with 5 years of experience, you can kind of come in at a few different levels depending on the work experience you have. But what this also showcases kind of for everyone is that you do have that opportunity to continue to grow within our company and keep moving up the ladder. Um, Things don't just stop here though. Like, and this is just the IT associate level. You do have some other positions like the IT specialist level that has various positions and levels to that. There's the IT supervisor level, 1 and 2. There's IT managers 1 and 2. So you can continue to really grow and develop your career as far as you really want to, as Mike was saying, and I'm sure Mike, you've developed quite a few people through your mentorship program, right? Like you've seen people just move progress through their career. Is that correct?
Absolutely. And as a matter of fact, one of the employees who became a supervisor right now that supervises a small unit under IT here in District 8 is actually was a mentee of mine in the past, but she had moved up. she was in a different classification. She moved into IT, and she learned the stuff, and she became a supervisor.
Yeah. And I think that's the big thing, right? Like we're also such a big company that the opportunities to move up uh, come about quite frequently since we cover so much ground. So there's always that chance.
Right,
Um,
and I do want to mention that you mentioned the IT associate and a specialist one. There's also, you can stay in that ladder, which is more of a technical
mhm.
area. There's a specialist two and a specialist
Especially, yeah,
three.
1, 2, and 3.
Right. Right. The manager and the supervisor is more on a management. If there's an interest into moving into management, then you go to the supervisory one and two and the manager one and two.
Yeah. So another thing that we wanted to kind of go over because we get this question asked quite a bit is if you're not quite ready to enter the workforce just yet, student assistant programs or people call them internships, we call them the student assistant program. We do have some positions open. Every so often, we do have them open. If you're currently in school and have a year or more left, the student assistant program, volunteer program is kind of one of the best ways to get in. For the student assistant program, you have to be enrolled in 6 semester units and have a 2.0 GPA. You work about 1,500 hours in a 12-month period and up to 24 hours during the work week or during the school year. And then when you're on breaks, you can work up to 40 hours. Kicker here is you have to be a California resident or you have to be living within California because these programs do typically run year round. It's not necessarily just, hey, just summer, just winter. We like to run these programs year round, and you do have to be a California resident. We also offer the volunteer program 16 years or older. For that one, there's really not much that qualifies you in terms of you don't have to be registered in school. For both of these, though, if you do have questions, just reach out to us at askrecruitment.ca.gov, and we'll be answer your questions there. To apply to student assistant positions, you'll go on calinterns.org, which I believe Megan has already dropped in the chat as well. Now, a question that everybody always asks is international students. If you are an international student, you can be a student assistant with us as long as you are within the school within California because you'll be residing in California. So you can be a student assistant with us. All right. So final thing before we get into our Q&A session is how to apply. We've kind of made it really simple. We've done our best to try to make it as simple as we can. We do know that it can be a little technical still after this, but we do have some links for you guys as well. So you will basically go on to calcareers.ca.gov and you're going to create an account. Once you're done creating an account, you're going to take the exams for the classifications that you want to apply to, whether it be an IT associate, IT specialist, IT manager, IT supervisor, etc., or any other classification that you're looking at, and then you'll apply for the jobs from there. We did create a website. It's our career compass. I'm not sure, Megan, did you drop that in there already?
I'm about to.
So we did create a website. It's called a career compass. That website that we created kind of walks you through a little bit more through the application process because we know that sometimes you're not going to be able to email us or call us at the time that you're filling out an application. So we created this website so that way you guys can use it as a resource for yourself to help you through those times and those hours where we're not available. With that being said, we will open it up to a Q&A. Megan, what do you have for us on the Q&A?
Well, I'm gonna wait for everyone to send them in. Um, I think we covered a few of the questions that we had. Question about upward mobility once you get your foot in the door. I think we answered that. There's tons of availability to move up with Caltrans.
Absolutely.
Okay, and then somebody said, should I apply now or wait until after I graduate?
I would apply now
Okay.
if you are looking, because a lot of people are we're heading into graduation season, which is middle to end of May through beginning and middle of June. I would start applying now. The reason why you want to apply now is because all of our jobs are based around what's called the final filing date. That final filing date might not be until a few weeks after you've dropped in your application, and they won't start looking at the applications for review until a few weeks after that. So the big kicker is you just have to have your diploma or you have to meet the minimum qualifications by the time of hiring. So we just need to make sure. That's why I would apply now. I would get your application in and just kind of be straightforward and upfront, like, hey, I'm about to graduate um, in the upcoming, I mean, realistically, in the upcoming weeks, there's probably a chance, to be honest with you, that by the time the interviews happen, you might have your diploma. So I would definitely suggest applying now. Mike, any you have and would you suggest applying now?
Absolutely. I think a lot of times there is a requirement for a particular position,
Hmm.
minimum requirements, but there is also entry level
Hmm.
positions in that, for example, there's an IT technician position that may allow somebody, a graduate with
Like a
some
registered
conversation,
senior or something.
right? So I would definitely recommend that while you're going to school, especially when you're in the senior level, last year, to start applying so that you can get your foot in the door.
Mhm. All right, Megan, what else do we got?
All right, Gage had asked, this is going back to the question about upward mobility, if promotions are performance-based or time-based with the state of California.
So how our promotions work within the state of California is if you feel like you meet the qualification. So for example, we're going to take my level. So my level is listed as or not associate personnel analyst. If I want to move up levels to what's called a staff services manager one position, the vacancy will be listed. And if I feel like I meet the minimum qualifications for it and I want the promotion, I will go ahead and apply there. So we like to keep a fair, even playing field for everybody that wants to be promoted up to those levels. You will just have to make sure you meet the minimum qualifications for it, and then you'll have to showcase that you do have the skills and talent to meet that qualification. It's not like the private sector where it's just like, hey, we know you, you haven't been working as long as this person to showcase those skills. It's hey, if you want it, everybody has the opportunity to apply for it. Go ahead and apply for it, and they'll take a look at everybody's application and be as fair as possible. Um, from there moving forward, it isn't necessarily a hey, we're picking this person out, you're going to get the job. Everybody still has to apply in order to get a chance at promoting up from there. Now, when you're talking about moving up from IT associate range A through B, it kind of just gradually happens throughout the years as you put in more time. Um, you do get potentially merit raises depending on if you're meeting your requirements, and eventually you just kind of, as years go by, you just keep moving up. You just keep moving up, and those ones you don't really have to apply for those at all. You're within the range, so it just keeps happening as you put in the years. You just end up qualifying for those spots automatically.
I do want to mention, Russell, that also while that is happening, performance is considered. If
Yeah,
somebody is not performing, they might actually not move up.
not move up. Yes, if they're not performing, they might not move up.
Thank you for that clarification. This one will be a good one for you, Mike. Do you recommend getting any specific certifications?
Um, Absolutely, certification will help when you put something on your resume or when you apply for a position in IT and you actually have this type of certification that you can list in your application. It helps, although it's not required, at least in our department. There is no certification requirements. There is an education requirements
Mhm.
depending on the position. There's some college courses that are that are required based on what position is being applied to, specifically associate and above. I do believe there's a number of courses that needs to be taken by an accepted college or university before as a minimum requirement. But
Yes.
there's no, like, for example, I know Microsoft offers certifications. It's not required.
Okay. All right. And then Russell, can we go ahead and go over remote positions and the requirements of working within the state of California, how that works? If somebody's living, say, in Texas, can they work for us?
So technically, no. You would have to be given that we are a state of California agency, you would have to reside within the state of California in order to work for us. You would have to have residency with the state of California in order to work for our department. Now, if you are willing to relocate, that is perfect. You can, move to California and be living within California, but you cannot have a fully remote position, living in a different state, um, and working for us, unfortunately.
Okay. Thank you, Russell. How much time do we have on our books?
We've got I can give you about three more questions.
Okay. For those who don't have any experience yet, they're still in school. What should they do on the pathway to fill those minimum qualifications and um, be able to apply?
Student assistant and volunteer. I would
Hmm.
easily say student assistant and volunteer. Um, Given that you're still in school, at the end of the day, we want all anybody that's in school, we want you to graduate. We want to hire you and we want you to graduate, but we also want to show you what our company is all about. So if you can volunteer, and it's as simple as sending us an email and we'll partner you up with somebody, a hiring manager or somebody that's looking to take volunteers. Um, they just to volunteer through there. If you need something through the student assistant program, that's a really good way. Like we said, that's like an internship program right there, pretty much, but that's run year round. I would highly suggest either student assistant or volunteer program while you're in school to get not just get your foot in the door, but get used to how the state works. Like how Mike said during his time when he was working private sector, once he got into the public sector, he realized it's very different. It's not what a lot of people think it is. It just runs and operates differently. So being exposed to that at an earlier start while you're in school definitely helps. Get your not just get your foot in there, but start growing your career. I don't know if you have anything else on that, Mike. Any other suggestions besides student assistant and volunteer program?
Yeah, I was gonna say there's entry-level positions that don't require a lot of education or a lot of experience, and those entry levels are designed for people who are still going to school or maybe they're about to graduate and so on, to give them the opportunity if you will, the first step in the ladder,
Mhm,
to put your foot in the first step on the ladder so they can grow, and those are entry positions.
mhm. And Megan, got time for about two more questions.
There's been a lot of questions about this. Can we go over, do you have any information about visa or sponsorship information? I have a blurb I can include in the chat, but if there's anything you want to harp on.
It is a case by case basis, from what
Hmm.
I'm told. Just because with visa and sponsorship, unfortunately, things are changing a lot. So we do have a specialist on our team up here at headquarters. If you have Luisa Lozano's email,
I plugged it in.
yep, she just, that's her job. Her job is to understand um, visas and sponsorship. And like I said, unfortunately, is the case basis. I would definitely reach out to Louisa, and she'll point you in the right direction of what we need to do if we can do anything to help out with the situation. But like I said, if you are still in school, you can be hired on with us as a student assistant through the through that student assistant program as an international student.
Mhm.
So that would be also a good way to kind of be working with us while you're still in school, even if you are an international student, because we can hire you as long as you have our ability to work. All
Yep.
right, last one, Megan.
Last one. And is there any veteran programs or opportunities for veterans within Caltrans?
Um, so when applying through the state, you can do veterans preference. So
Hmm.
that is something that I will tell anybody and everybody that is a veteran. First and foremost, thank you for your service. Um, but when you're applying, be sure you select that you have veterans preference. If you can, start your paperwork as early as you can. I want to say it's like you can start your paperwork 3 months ahead, before you are discharged from the military, or before you leave. So you can start your paperwork 3 months ahead to get your veterans preference already rolling. So that way you have it prior to applying. If you have already left the military, you can just go ahead and make sure you just continue on with the paperwork, but do click on there that you have veterans preference to help you, um, give yourself a better opportunity and take advantage of the fact that you have that resource for you, and that we do offer that for veterans. Other than that, Megan, that's all. That's
That's all
it.
we have. Awesome.
Cool. So I just wanted to go ahead and thank everybody for joining in on us again. Mike, I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy day. I know you had a long day today and it's been filled with a lot of meetings, but just want to thank everybody. And if you guys do have any further questions, please reach out to us at askrecruitment@dot.ca.gov. Thank you all, and you guys have a great day. Bye.